Well, the big story, of course, from London. Explosions rocked the London Underground at the Parsons Green station in southwest London. An explosion was heard at around 8:15 a.m. today. London police are now treating the attack as an act of terrorism. The London police issued a statement saying that there was an explosion in the southwest part of the city. London Ambulance too have released a statement saying that multiple teams are at the spot attending to the injured. Several passengers have received facial burns. A container exploded on a packed London train in the metro, causing panic as commuters reported fellow passengers had suffered facial burns. A white container or tub in a bag near one of the doors exploded in flames and released some kind of gas or smoke. Some passengers sustained facial burn injuries. Lavina Tandon joining us live from London. Lavina, statements out from the police as well as the London Ambulance Service. What's the latest as far as the investigation is concerned?
The police have declared, as you know, this as a terrorist incident, but said it's too early to confirm the cause. Armed police and 50 firefighters are on the scene at this point in time. Ambulance service is assessing the extent of the injuries, and the bucket which appeared to be on fire is being investigated. As we say, commuter fled the terror attack on the busy London Underground train, which is why the extent of injuries is quite a bit as well. And the witnesses, they are being spoken to, are quite horrified and shaken. So, hello?
Yes, continue.
Okay. So, at this point in time, Shiv, police, now the line of investigation, of course, would be to find who kept this this kind of basic bomb on the... And this is not a shrapnel injury, this is more fire injuries that are being treated, and of course stampede injuries. So line of investigation is to find what kind of, who kept it. So the cause, exact cause has yet not been revealed. There are surveillance helicopters around, also in and around the area. I live in West London, and I saw a lot of ambulances and police surveillance happening in and around this area. So already the search for the person, that is prime now, apart from keeping the people secure for the future as well. Therefore, the surveillance helicopters. So searches would be going on as we speak about who this person could be. This is back to basics, Shivaru. Remember, this is something using a very basic bomb. In the few incidents in the past, we have seen knife and lorry kind of scenario, but now it's back to basic with bombs. So very important to not only find the person, but the influence or association if there is any. So that's the kind of line of investigation that is being taken forward. Also, at 12 o'clock in about midday, there will be a Cobra meeting chaired by the Prime Minister that would also ascertain what kind of investigation will be carried forward.
Okay, thanks very much for that very comprehensive update, Lavina. We're keeping an eye on this story. We will find out more as the investigation is taken forward. Thanks for joining us on that. Well, they may be facing international sanctions, but that hasn't deterred North Korea from even more misadventures that completely destabilize the world. Well, fresh evidence of that came today when North Korea fired what appeared to be a long-range ballistic missile eastward over Japan and into the Pacific Ocean. Well, this comes just a day after North Korea threatened that the 4 main Japanese islands should be sunk into the sea by a nuclear bomb. The missile was launched around 6:30 a.m. local time, flew for about 17 minutes to a distance of around 3,700 kilometers, passing over Japan's Hokkaido before finally splashing into the Pacific Ocean. Well, the launch immediately sparked emergency sirens and text alerts in Japan. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was until yesterday in India, has condemned the missile launch and said that United Nations sanctions on North Korea needed to be firmly imposed.
国連決議で 示された国際社会の一致した平和的解決への強い意思を踏みにじり、北朝鮮が再びこのような暴挙を行ったことは断じて容認できません。安保理に対して緊急会合の開催を要請します。世界の平和を脅かす北朝鮮の危険な挑発行為に対して。
And there have been other reactions as well from the international community that has sit up once again to take notice of this fresh weapons day.
이러한 북한의 지속적인 도발은 한반도와 국제사회의 평화와 안정에 중대한 위협으로서 이를 엄중히 규탄하고 분노합니다.
Nobody wants to see a war on the Korean Peninsula. If Kim Jong-un were to start a war to attack the United States or one of its allies, he would be signing a suicide note. That would be the end for his government, and thousands of people would die. It would be a catastrophe, and that is why it's vitally important to maintain this economic pressure on North Korea. Now,
and let's take a look at the path of this new North Korean missile. It's the latest missile that's been fired from the district of Sunan in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang, home to the country's main airport. My colleague Padmaja Joshi explains.
Now let's take a look at the path of the North Korean missile. It was fired from the district of Sunan in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang, home to the country's main airport. It flew about 3,700 kilometers and reached an altitude of 770 kilometers before landing in the Pacific Ocean. Now, initial assessments have suggested that North Korea had fired an intermediate range ballistic missile similar to that fired over Japan last month.
Shruti Ranjan Sen, editor, is with us live. Shruti, take us through the implications of this missile strike, because at 3,700 kilometer range, Guam, other territories are well within range of, a possible nuclear strike. And it's something that Kim Jong-un has been threatening for a while now. And they've demonstrated once again that the capability they have is not one to be dismissed.
Well, yes, Shiv, they've been repeatedly trying to do this, testing, so to say, the patience of the international community. But that said, what we are being told is that very deliberately Guam has not been targeted so far, because that would be crossing the red line.
Yes.
And it would result in an immediate retaliation from the United States, which would be horrendous in nature. It's kind of signaling and messaging also through this, because more the international community tries to bring in economic sanctions and sanctions on North Korea. North Korea is using this to signal and message that you need to undo the sanctions, you need to let us be, otherwise we are going to do this. So it's basically a neighbor which is a rogue neighbor.
Yes.
The problem, so to say, doesn't have very many solutions, except what we are told is that the international community will now lean on China, because if anybody has any leverage on North Korea, it is China, because the fuel supplies of North Korea go from China. So that is the only perhaps route that is left right now. Shiv.
Thanks very much, Shruti, for putting that into perspective for us. We're going to keep a very strong focus on the instability that's been created and is being sort of boiled over by North Korea's weapons activities. This is certainly not going to be the last test in a while. Thanks, Shruti. We'll keep a track of that story. Well, this is the latest dare, like I said, by North Korea to the international community. Well, the latest ballistic missile test is the second to fly over Japan in less than a month, and the first since North Korea's 6th nuclear test. Padmaja takes you through North Korea's past provocations and nuclear tests that began just over a decade ago.
Now, the nuclear tests by North Korea began just over a decade ago, with the first one that took place in 2006. At the time, its intensity was 1 kiloton and it resulted in an earthquake of the magnitude of 4.2 on the Richter scale. 3 years later, in May 2009, they had another test of 2.8 kilotons. The earthquake was 4.7 in magnitude. Subsequently, they had the third test in February of 2013, where the intensity was 6 to 7 kilotons. After that, from February 2013, their fourth test took place. In 2016, 4 to 6 kilotons, that was the intensity. They waited then for a period of just a few months, and in 2016 September itself a 10 kiloton test was done, and then their strongest test till date took place just a few days ago in September 2017, where 100 kilotons nuclear test, the most powerful nuclear test till date.